There's something powerful about a woman who knows who she is. Not by the standards of society, but by the standards of heaven. When a woman is walking in the blessings of God, you don't always have to announce it. It shows, it speaks, it echoes in every room she walks into. There is a fragrance about her spirit, a clarity about her mind, and a divine rhythm to her steps. You see, God never created you to walk in confusion. A blessed woman is a woman of purpose. She doesn't just exist, she functions. She understands that she was sent to earth to fulfill a divine assignment, not just to survive. Her life is not reactive, it is proactive. She does not chase trends, she follows truth. She is not tossed by emotion, she is anchored by revelation. And because of that, she doesn't waste her energy trying to fit in where she was called to stand out. When a woman is walking in God's blessings, she is at peace. She is not running after time, she is flowing in divine timing. She knows that what God has for her is for her. She doesn't have to compete. She doesn't have to compare. She doesn't have to manipulate anything to make it work. Provision finds her. Doors open for her. Resources come to her because God has assigned people, places, and moments to align with destiny. And when she walks into a room, respect follows her. Not because she demands it, but because she carries it. You cannot dishonor a woman who honors herself and her creator. She knows she is not common. She knows she is not ordinary. She has been processed through pain. But she didn't become bitter, she became better. And that refining has made her gold in the sight of God and man. A woman walking in blessing does not strive to be impressive, she strives to be impactful. She bears fruit in a season. Her hands are productive. Her words are seasoned with wisdom. She doesn't measure her success by applause, but by obedience. And when others see her life, they don't just admire her, they are transformed by her example. She knows how to lift others without losing herself. She multiplies what she has. She's a kingdom woman. She expands, she builds, she plants, and she harvests. And yet she stays grounded. Her roots are deep, so her influence is wide. You can't bless others unless you are first blessed yourself. And she knows that. Finally, a blessed woman walks in protection. What others fall under, she rises above. She is covered. She is kept. She is preserved. Not because she's lucky, but because she's aligned. She doesn't fight every battle because some battles are already won. She knows when to speak and when to be silent, when to move and when to stand still. The enemy cannot access her because her life is hidden in Christ. So if you're wondering whether you're walking in God's blessings, don't check your bank account. Don't check your social status. Check your spirit. Check your fruit. Check your peace. Because when a woman is truly walking in God's favor, it shows without noise, without pride, and without compromise. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to shine. You were never called to be average. You were created to be an answer. So rise, woman of God. Step boldly, speak wisely, love deeply, and live purposefully. Because the blessing of the Lord is not just on you, it flows through you. She walks with clarity of purpose, not confusion. She does not wake up every day wondering who she is or why she exists. Her life is not a random journey of trial and error. It is a deliberate walk guided by divine understanding. She knows that purpose is not something you chase, it's something you discover. And once she has discovered it, she aligns her life with it. Her relationships, her choices, her conversations, and even her silence are intentional. She does not say yes to everything, because she understands that every yes carries weight. She is not distracted by every opportunity that looks good. She is led by the ones that are God ordained. She has learned that confusion is the absence of vision, and vision comes from God, not from people's opinions or culture's trends. She no longer allows external voices to define her internal value. She is not moved by applause or criticism. Her focus is not on popularity, but on purpose. She walks with confidence, not arrogance, because she knows where she is going even if others don't understand it. And she does not need constant validation to keep going. Her assurance is anchored in the one who sent her. Even in the midst of challenges, she doesn't fall apart. She may cry, she may bend, but she does not break, because her foundation is not in the temporal, it's in the eternal. She knows her worth, and that knowledge keeps her steady when the world around her is shaking. She isn't busy trying to be everything to everyone. She is focused on becoming everything God called her to be. That kind of clarity gives her strength. It gives her direction. It gives her peace. Because when you know your purpose, you don't panic. You pursue. She carries peace, not pressure. She is not anxious about time or success. Her spirit is calm. Not because life is perfect, but because she knows who holds the future. She doesn't allow the ticking of the clock or the pace of others to determine her worth. She has come to understand that divine timing is more powerful than human deadlines. So she moves with grace, not haste. While others rush to be seen, she rests in being chosen. She knows that rushing leads to mistakes, but peace leads to wisdom. She is not overwhelmed by the milestones of others because she's not in a race, she's in alignment. She has released the pressure to prove herself, and in doing so, she has found freedom. She is not afraid of being behind because she understands that God's plan for her life is custom made. She does not compare her chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 10. Instead, she leans into the process. And that process, though sometimes quiet and slow, is producing something sacred within her. She does not live under the weight of unrealistic expectations. She is not driven by fear of missing out or fear of not being enough. Instead, she is anchored in peace that surpasses understanding. Even when things don't go as planned, she doesn't spiral. She pauses, she prays, she waits, she trusts, because she knows that the blessing is not just in the destination, it's in the posture of her heart along the way. She is not addicted to achievement. She is devoted to alignment. She is not chasing a spotlight. She is cultivating substance. This is why she carries peace, because her life is not built on pressure, but on presence. The presence of God calms her, leads her, and keeps her grounded, even in the face of delay or uncertainty. She attracts provision without manipulation. Blessings find her. She doesn't beg, chase, or force doors to open. She doesn't scheme her way into rooms or pressure people to favor her. Instead, she understands the law of divine attraction. When you are where God wants you to be, what you need will come looking for you. She doesn't have to compromise her values to receive resources. She doesn't have to pretend, perform, or please in order to be provided for. Her life is a testimony that when you walk in purpose, provision is assigned to meet you there. She knows that manipulation may produce results, but not peace. And she refuses to exchange her peace for temporary gain. She has learned to trust the process of sowing and reaping. She sows faithfulness, and in time she reaps favor. She sows excellence, and doors open in response. She sows obedience, and windows of heaven pour out blessings she didn't even expect. People call it coincidence, but she knows His covenant. She doesn't have to overextend herself to be seen or heard. Her presence is enough, because God's presence is with her. Opportunities begin to show up, not because she demanded them, but because her character commands attention. She is a magnet for grace, not by effort, but by alignment. There is something about her spirit that attracts the right people, the right moments, and the right resources. Even in scarcity, she doesn't panic, she prepares, because she knows that provision is not always visible before it arrives, but it is always promised when you're in God's will. She lives in a flow, not a fight. While others exhaust themselves trying to keep up, she simply positions herself in obedience and watches the blessings come pressed down, shaken together, and running over. She walks in honor respected by others without demanding it. Her presence commands attention, not because she is loud, but because she is rooted. She doesn't have to shout to be heard, nor does she seek validation to feel valuable. Her character speaks louder than her words. She carries herself with dignity, and that dignity, she doesn't force people to respect her. She simply lives in a way that makes it impossible not to. Her actions are consistent. Her words are thoughtful. Her boundaries are clear. She is not reactive, she is responsive. And because she honors herself, others learn to do the same. She doesn't compromise her standards for attention. She doesn't lower her voice just to be accepted. She knows that those who are sent by God will recognize her value without having to prove it. Even in environments that try to diminish her, she holds her ground. Not with arrogance, but with assurance. She honors others, not based on how they treat her, but based on who she is. And because she sows honor, she reaps it. It may not come instantly, but in time, even those who once overlooked her cannot deny the weight of her worth. She is not desperate to be liked because she is committed to being real. She is not addicted to applause because she is addicted to authenticity. And in a world that often rewards the loud and the flashy, she remains a reminder that quiet strength, humble confidence, and unwavering principles still command the deepest respect. She is fruitful in her season, producing results in alignment with God's timing. She doesn't panic when others seem ahead, and she doesn't envy those who appear to be thriving. She knows that every tree bears fruit in its own season, and her roots are deep in truth, not in comparison. She doesn't measure her productivity by how busy she is, but by how aligned she is with her assignment. She understands that rushing ahead of God's timing can produce premature fruit, sweet at first, but bitter in the end. She is patient, but not passive. She is active in faith, diligent in preparation, and consistent in obedience. She understands that preparation precedes manifestation. So while others may overlook her process, she is cultivating strength in silence, developing character in private, and nurturing vision in prayer. When her season comes, she doesn't have to announce it. Her fruit speaks for itself. She doesn't force outcomes. She trusts the flow of divine timing. And because of that, she avoids the stress that comes from trying to control everything. She has surrendered the need to prove, and in doing so, she has stepped into the power of purpose. Her life begins to produce, ideas flourish, relationships blossom, doors open, and impact multiplies, not because she hustled harder, but because she waited wisely. She is not empty because she is constantly being filled. She is not dry because she remains connected to the source. She doesn't operate on fumes. She draws from the overflow of grace and wisdom within her. And when her time comes, it is undeniable. Not only does she produce fruit, but the fruit lasts. It nourishes others. It glorifies God. And it confirms that when you wait on Him, you will not be ashamed. Her life becomes a living testimony that seasons of preparation always lead to seasons of fulfillment. She elevates others while remaining grounded. She multiplies blessings. Her greatness is not measured by how high she climbs, but by how many she lifts on her way up. She understands that true influence is not about being above others. It's about raising others with you. She carries no insecurity when others rise because she is rooted in her own identity. She knows that helping someone else shine does not dim her light. It only confirms the strength of her flame. She is not threatened by the success of others. In fact, she celebrates it. She gives without fear of lack. She pours without fear of depletion. Because she knows that what she gives multiplies and what she withholds decays. She speaks life into those around her, calling out greatness, affirming potential, and planting seeds of confidence that grow long after she's gone. She doesn't elevate others to gain favor. She does it because that's who she is. Yet, in all her giving, she remains grounded. Her humility is not weakness, it is wisdom. She doesn't need applause to stay motivated. She doesn't lose herself in the act of serving others. She knows how to give without losing her voice, how to support without becoming invisible. Her foundation is secure, so she does not crumble under the weight of influence. She walks in the balance of confidence and humility, impact and stillness. Because of her, others rise. Dreams are awakened. Courage is restored. People around her begin to believe again, not just in themselves, but in purpose and goodness in God. Her influence is not loud, but it is lasting. And through her life, blessings don't stop with her, they spread. She multiplies what she carries. And in doing so, she becomes more than blessed. She becomes a blessing that cannot be contained. She lives in divine protection, hidden from harm and preserved for greatness. There is a covering over her life that cannot be explained by logic or luck. It is the hand of God shielding her from what should have destroyed her. She's walked through storms that others didn't survive, but she emerged not broken, but built. Not bitter, but better. Because she is not just protected physically, she is guarded spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. God has preserved her not just for survival, but for purpose. There are things she didn't even know were sent to harm her, but they never reached her because God intercepted them. While others may see only her strength, they don't know the battle she never had to fight. because they were fought in the unseen. She doesn't always understand why some doors close or why some people leave, but she's learned to trust that what God removes, He's also protecting her from. Rejection to her is often redirection. Delay is often divine shielding. And every detour has been part of her destiny. She doesn't live in fear because she knows who goes before her. Her confidence is not arrogance, it's assurance. She knows that if God has called her, He will also keep her. Even when she walks into unfamiliar territory, she is not anxious. She is covered. She is assigned. She is watched over. The enemy can try, but he cannot touch what God has marked for greatness. She does not waste time trying to defend herself from lies or attack back when wronged. She lets the Lord fight for her. And somehow He always does. Her peace is a weapon. Her stillness is power. And her life is a sign that when God's hand is on you, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, not because it won't form, but because it won't succeed. She is hidden, not forgotten. She is preserved, not delayed. Because greatness is not rushed, it is protected until the appointed time. So hear me clearly. A woman who walks in God's blessings is not just lucky, she is positioned. She is not driven by the world's noise, but led by heaven's voice. Her life is not a chase for validation, but a journey of revelation. She doesn't merely exist, she manifests purpose, peace, provision, and power. The world may overlook her, but heaven recognizes her. She may not always be seen, but she is always sent. And wherever she walks, favor follows not because she demands it, but because she carries divine alignment. This woman is proof that when you walk with God, you never walk alone. His blessings don't just surround you, they flow through you. So if you see yourself in her, don't shrink. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a woman who walks into a room and the atmosphere shifts. Not because of her appearance, but because of the power she carries within her. She radiates confidence, speaks with wisdom, and moves with a purpose that cannot be shaken. She is not controlled by circumstances. She controls the atmosphere around her. Why? Because she knows who she is. The most dangerous thing in life is not failure. It is living without knowing your divine identity. A woman who understands her worth, her power, and her calling becomes unstoppable. She does not beg for validation because she knows she is already chosen. She does not chase after opportunities because she creates them. She does not compete with others because she walks in her unique assignment. The most powerful thing a woman can possess is the knowledge of who she truly is. Identity is not determined by circumstances, opinions, or past failures. It is rooted in the one who created her. When a woman understands that she is fearfully and wonderfully made, that she was formed with purpose before she even took her first breath, she begins to walk differently. She no longer seeks validation from the world because she knows she is already approved by God. She does not shrink herself to fit into places that cannot contain her greatness. Instead, she stands boldly, knowing she carries divine significance. The greatest attack against a woman is not on her beauty, her finances, or even her relationships. It is an attack on her identity. If the enemy can make her forget who she is, he can control her decisions, her mindset, and her destiny. This is why so many women struggle with self-doubt, insecurity, and the fear of not being enough. But a godly woman refuses to be defined by temporary emotions or external standards. She reminds herself daily that she is a daughter of the King, a vessel of wisdom, a carrier of greatness. A woman who knows her identity is unshakable. She does not beg for love. She knows she is already loved. She does not chase after people. She attracts the right ones by walking in her calling. She does not fear rejection because she understands that closed doors are often divine protection. She is not swayed by opinions because her confidence comes from a higher source. The moment a woman grasps the fullness of who she is, she stops walking in limitation and starts walking in. She understands that her worth is not in what she does, but in who she is becoming. A woman without vision is like a ship without a compass. She may move, but she has no direction. Life is not meant to be lived by chance or mere survival. It is meant to be lived with clarity, intention, and a deep sense of purpose. A godly woman does not wake up each day wondering what life will bring her. She wakes up knowing that she is a part of something greater. She understands that she was not placed on this earth to merely exist, but to fulfill a divine assignment that only she can accomplish. Purpose is not found in chasing success, validation, or material gain. It is discovered in seeking the Creator who designed her with intentionality. When a woman seeks to understand why she was born, what problem she was meant to solve, and what impact she was created to make, she begins to live differently. She no longer wastes time on meaningless distractions or relationships that pull her away from her destiny. She invests in growth, in wisdom, and in the calling that God has placed in her heart. A woman with vision does not move aimlessly. She walks with direction. She sets goals, makes decisions with wisdom, and refuses to settle for mediocrity. She is not easily shaken by obstacles because she understands that every challenge is a part of her preparation. Instead of being controlled by circumstances, she commands her future with faith and action. She does not compare her journey with others because she knows her path is unique. When vision takes root in a woman's life, she becomes unstoppable. She does not allow fear, doubt, or setbacks to deter her. She moves forward knowing that she was created for impact, for influence, and for something far greater than herself. Wisdom is the foundation of a life well lived. A godly woman understands that knowledge alone is not enough. It is the ability to apply knowledge correctly that sets her apart. She does not make impulsive decisions based on emotions or temporary circumstances. She seeks divine wisdom to guide her path. She knows that every choice she makes carries consequences, and so she is intentional about seeking understanding before she acts. Wisdom is her safeguard, her strength, and her greatest asset in navigating life's complexities. Discernment is her ability to see beyond the surface, to recognize what is true, and to avoid the traps that many fall into. A woman with discernment does not entertain every opportunity, trust every voice, or follow every trend. She understands that not everything that looks good is from God, and not every open door is meant to be walked through. She listens carefully, observes diligently, and moves strategically. When others are deceived by flattery, she remains unmoved. When confusion surrounds her, she stands firm because she has trained herself to hear the voice of truth. The source of her wisdom is not human intellect alone. It is her connection with God. She studies, she listens, and she surrounds herself with people who sharpen her mind. She understands that wisdom is not something acquired overnight. It is cultivated through experience, through humility, and through a heart that seeks to learn. She does not waste her words on meaningless conversations or engage in foolish disputes. Instead, she speaks with authority, with clarity, and with grace. A woman who cultivates wisdom and discernment protects her future. She avoids unnecessary pain, recognizes the right people to align with, and walks a path of excellence. Her choices are intentional, her mind is sharp, and her life is marked by success and divine favor. Faith and prayer are the twin pillars of an unshakable life. A godly woman does not rely on her own strength alone. She understands that true power comes from her connection with God. Faith is not just believing in what she sees. It is believing in what has been promised, even when there is no visible evidence. She walks by faith, not by sight, refusing to let circumstances dictate her confidence. When challenges arise, she does not panic or retreat. She stands firm, knowing that God is working behind the scenes. Prayer is her secret weapon. She does not see it as a ritual or an obligation, but as a direct conversation with the one who holds all things together. She prays not just for answers, but for alignment with God's will. She does not wait for trouble to seek him. She lives in constant communion, making prayer her lifestyle. She understands that battles are won in the spirit before they manifest in the physical, so she does not waste time fighting with people or complaining about problems. She takes everything to God in prayer. Faith makes her bold. She does not fear delays because she knows that divine timing is always perfect. She does not allow fear to paralyze her because she trusts that God's plans for her are good. When others see impossibility, she sees opportunity. When others give up, she presses forward, declaring victory before it happens. Her words are filled with life because she speaks in faith, and her actions reflect an unshakable trust in God's promises. A woman who masters faith and prayer is unstoppable. She moves mountains with her words, overcomes obstacles with her belief, and shapes her future through the power of divine connection. Nothing can break her because she stands on a foundation that cannot be shaken. A woman's mind is the battlefield where victories and defeats are decided. She understands that her thoughts shape her reality, and whatever dominates her mind will eventually direct her life. That is why she is intentional about what she allows into her thoughts. She does not entertain negativity, fear, or doubt. She knows that every great downfall begins with a single wrong thought, and so she protects her mind as if it were a treasure. She refuses to dwell on past failures, harmful words, or the lies that tell her she is not enough. Instead, she fills her mind with wisdom, truth, and promises that empower her to walk in confidence. Her heart is the wellspring of her life, and she does not allow just anything to take root in it. She guards it from bitterness, envy, and toxic emotions that could corrupt her spirit. She is selective about the company she keeps because she knows that the wrong voices can pollute her heart and steer her off course. She does not engage in gossip, unhealthy comparisons, or relationships that drain her energy. Instead, she surrounds herself with people who speak life, who challenge her to grow, and who encourage her to rise higher. Guarding her heart also means setting boundaries. She does not allow external pressures to dictate her worth, nor does she allow rejection or disappointment to harden her spirit. She keeps her heart pure, forgiving quickly, loving deeply, but never compromising her values. She understands that a guarded heart does not mean a closed heart. It means a protected one. A woman who guards her mind and heart lives with peace and clarity. She is not easily swayed by distractions or emotional turbulence. She moves with purpose, thinks with wisdom, and loves with strength because she has built her life on a foundation that cannot be shaken. A godly woman refuses to live a life of mediocrity. She understands that everything she does is a reflection of her values, her character, and ultimately the God she serves. Excellence is not about perfection. It is about giving her best in every area of her life. She does not cut corners, settle for good enough, or wait for others to push her forward. Instead, she operates with diligence, focus, and a commitment to continuous growth. Whether in her work, relationships, or personal development, she strives to bring out the best in herself and those around her. Excellence is a mindset. It means showing up on time, delivering beyond expectations, and doing things with care and precision. It is in the way she speaks, the way she carries herself, and the way she treats people. She understands that how she does anything is how she does everything, so she refuses to give half-hearted effort. She does not rely on talent alone. She invests in skill, discipline, and preparation. She is not satisfied with just doing what is required. She goes beyond, creating a standard that inspires others. Integrity is her foundation. She does not compromise her values for temporary gain. She keeps her word, follows through on commitments, and does the right thing even when no one is watching. She understands that shortcuts may bring quick results, but only integrity brings lasting success. She refuses to manipulate, deceive, or take advantage of others. Instead, she builds trust, knowing that character is the currency that holds true value. A woman who walks in excellence and integrity earns favor wherever she goes. People respect her, opportunities find her, and doors open for her. Not because she demands them, but because she has prepared herself for them. She understands that greatness is not something she wishes for. It is something she consistently walks in. My question for you today is this. Are you ready to walk in victory? Are you ready to rise above mediocrity and embrace the greatness within you? Winning is not about luck. It is about living with purpose, discipline, and faith. A godly woman always wins because she does not operate in her own strength. She operates in divine power. She does not wait for success. She creates it. The time to step into your destiny is now. Stop doubting, stop hesitating, and stop settling. The world is waiting for the woman God created you to be. Rise up, step forward, and claim the victory that is already yours. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am so grateful you have joined me today, and I can't wait to dive into something that has the power to change your life. There is a profound beauty in the life of a man who chooses to walk alone, not out of fear or rejection, but out of a deep understanding of his purpose and destiny. Society often whispers that a man without a companion is incomplete. But I tell you, the man who dares to live alone is not incomplete. He is on a journey of becoming. He is not waiting for someone to fill a void. He is filling himself with purpose, vision, and strength. He is not lonely. He is intentional. A man who lives alone is not a man who has failed to find love. He is a man who has chosen to find himself first. He understands that love is not a crutch to lean on, but a crown to be worn by those who have first mastered the art of loving themselves. He knows that a relationship is not a rescue mission, but a partnership of two whole individuals who come together to build something greater than themselves. And so he takes his time. He invests in his growth, his dreams, and his character. He builds his life brick by brick, knowing that one day, when the time is right, he will invite someone to share in the masterpiece he has created. Living alone is not a curse. It is a classroom. It is where a man learns to be his own best friend, his own motivator, and his own leader. It is where he discovers the power of silence, the strength of solitude, and the clarity that comes from being still. In the quiet moments, he hears the voice of his Creator guiding him toward his destiny. He learns to trust himself, to rely on his own judgment, and to stand firm in his conviction. He becomes a man of substance, a man of depth, a man who knows who he is and where he is going. And let me tell you something, the world needs more men like this. Men who are not afraid to walk alone because they know that their worth is not determined by the presence of a partner, but by the content of their character. Men who are not chasing relationships, but are chasing their purpose. Men who understand that true love is not about finding the right person, but about becoming the right person. These are the men who change the world. These are the men who lead nations, build empires, and leave legacies. So, if you are a man living alone, do not see it as a season of lack. See it as a season of preparation. Use this time to grow, to dream, to build, and to become. Do not rush into relationships out of fear or societal pressure. Wait for the right time, the right person, and the right reasons. And when that time comes, you will not just bring a man to the table, you will bring a king, a man who knows his worth, who understands his purpose, and who is ready to love from a place of wholeness, not need. Remember, the greatest relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. Master that relationship and everything else will fall into place. You are not alone. You are on a journey to greatness. Embrace it, cherish it, and let it shape you into the man you were born to be. Living alone offers a unique and transformative opportunity for self-discovery and the pursuit of purpose. In the stillness of solitude, a man is stripped of external distractions and societal expectations, allowing him to confront the most important questions of his existence. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my destiny? These questions are not meant to be answered in the noise of the world, but in the quiet moments of introspection. When a man chooses to live alone, he is not running away from life. He is running toward it. He is diving deep into the ocean of his own soul, exploring the depths of his passions, talents, and dreams. He is uncovering the blueprint of his life, the divine plan that was written for him before he was born. Purpose is not something that can be found in another person. It is something that must be discovered within. A man who lives alone has the space and time to align himself with his true calling. He is free to experiment, to fail, to learn, and to grow without the pressure of conforming to someone else's expectations. He can pursue his passions with relentless focus, building a life that is a true reflection of his values and aspirations. In this process, he begins to understand that his life is not a random series of events, but a carefully orchestrated journey toward a greater destiny. Self-discovery is not a one-time event, but a continuous journey. It requires courage, honesty, and a willingness to confront the shadows within. A man who lives alone has the opportunity to face his fears, heal his wounds, and embrace his strengths. He learns to trust his intuition, to follow his heart, and to live authentically. He becomes a man who knows who he is and where he is going. And when he finally steps into his purpose, he becomes a force to be reckoned with. A man who is not only fulfilled, but also capable of inspiring and empowering others to do the same. Living alone cultivates a profound sense of independence and strength that cannot be gained through any other experience. When a man chooses to walk this path, he is forced to rely on himself in ways he may never have imagined. He learns to navigate life's challenges without leaning on others for validation or support. This self-reliance becomes the foundation of his character, shaping him into a man who is unshakable in the face of adversity. He discovers that he is capable of far more than he ever thought possible, and this realization fuels his confidence and resilience. Every obstacle he overcomes, every problem he solves on his own becomes a testament to his inner strength and resourcefulness. Independence is not just about doing things alone. It is about developing a mindset of self-sufficiency and accountability. A man who lives alone learns to take full responsibility for his life, his decisions, his actions, and his outcomes. He understands that no one is coming to save him or fix his problems, and this awareness pushes him to grow. He becomes a problem solver, a decision maker, and a leader in his own right. He learns to trust his judgment and to stand firm in his convictions, even when others may doubt him. This level of independence is empowering, freeing him from the need for external approval and allowing him to live life on his own terms. Strength, on the other hand, is forged in the fires of solitude. It is not just physical strength, but emotional, mental, and spiritual fortitude. A man who lives alone learns to face his fears, to sit with his emotions, and to confront the parts of himself that he may have been avoiding. He becomes comfortable with discomfort, knowing that growth often lies on the other side of pain. This process builds a resilience that cannot be easily shaken. He becomes a man who can weather any storm, not because he is invincible, but because he has learned to draw strength from within. This inner strength becomes his greatest asset, enabling him to face life's challenges with courage and grace. Living alone provides a man with the rare gift of focus, allowing him to avoid the distractions that often come with relationships and external influences. In a world that is constantly pulling us in multiple directions, solitude becomes a sanctuary where clarity can flourish. without the noise of others' expectations, opinions, or demands, a man can zero in on what truly matters to him. He can dedicate his time and energy to his goals, dreams, and personal growth without the interruptions that often accompany shared living or romantic entanglements. This undistracted focus is a powerful tool, enabling him to make significant progress in areas that align with his purpose and vision. Distractions are not always obvious. They can come in the form of unhealthy relationships, emotional drama, or the pressure to conform to societal norms. A man who lives alone has the opportunity to step back and evaluate these influences objectively. He can choose to remove anything that does not serve his higher purpose, creating a life that is intentional and aligned with his values. This deliberate avoidance of distractions allows him to channel his energy into meaningful pursuits, whether it's building a career, developing a skill, or contributing to a cause he is passionate about. He becomes a man of action, not reaction, steering his life with purpose and precision. Moreover, solitude teaches a man the importance of guarding his time and attention. He learns to say no to things that do not align with his goals, and he becomes selective about how he invests his resources. This discipline extends beyond his personal life and into his professional and social spheres, making him more effective and impactful in everything he does. By avoiding distractions, he creates a life that is not only productive, but also deeply fulfilling, as every action is a step toward the realization of his dreams. Living alone offers a man the unparalleled opportunity to build a strong foundation for his life, one that will support him in every season and circumstance. This foundation is not made of bricks and mortar, but of character, values, and purpose. When a man chooses to live alone, he is given the space and time to lay each stone with intention and care. He can focus on developing the core aspects of his being: his integrity, his work ethic, his emotional intelligence, and his spiritual depth. These qualities become the bedrock of his existence, ensuring that no matter what challenges or opportunities come his way, he remains grounded and steadfast. A strong foundation is not built overnight. It requires patience, discipline, and a commitment to growth. A man who lives alone has the freedom to invest in himself without the pressures or distractions that often come with relationships. He can take the time to heal from past wounds, to learn from his mistakes, and to cultivate habits that will serve him well in the future. He becomes a student of life, constantly seeking to improve himself and to align his actions with his values. This process of self-improvement is not always easy, but it is incredibly rewarding as it transforms him into a man of substance and resilience. Furthermore, building a strong foundation involves creating a life that is balanced and sustainable. A man who lives alone can design his daily routines, his environment, and his priorities in a way that supports his overall well-being. He can establish healthy habits such as regular exercise, mindful reflection, and continuous learning that contribute to his physical, mental, and emotional health. He can also build a network of supportive relationships and meaningful connections that enrich his life without compromising his independence. By laying this groundwork, he ensures that his life is not only stable, but also capable of withstanding the tests of time and adversity. Living alone provides a man with the clarity and space to understand his true value, not as defined by others, but as rooted in his intrinsic worth. In the absence of external validation or the noise of societal expectations, he is forced to look inward and confront the question of his own significance. This journey of self-assessment is not about arrogance or self-importance. It is about recognizing the unique gifts, talents, and potential that he brings to the world. It is about understanding that his value is not tied to his relationship status, his possessions, or his achievements, but to the essence of who he is as a person. This realization is transformative, freeing him from the need to seek approval or measure himself against others. When a man lives alone, he has the opportunity to see himself clearly without the distortions that often come from comparisons or the influence of others. He learns to appreciate his strengths and to accept his weaknesses, understanding that both are integral parts of his identity. This self-awareness allows him to set boundaries, to demand respect, and to pursue relationships and opportunities that align with his worth. He no longer settles for less than he deserves because he knows that his value is non-negotiable. This confidence radiates from within, attracting people and experiences that honor and reflect his true essence. Moreover, understanding true value is not just about self-recognition. It is about recognizing the value in others as well. A man who knows his worth is not threatened by the success or achievements of those around him. Instead, he celebrates them, knowing that their value does not diminish his own. He becomes a man who uplifts and empowers others, creating a ripple effect of positivity and growth. By understanding his true value, he not only enriches his own life, but also contributes to the lives of those around him in meaningful and impactful way. Living alone offers a man the sacred space to master the art of self-love, a journey that begins with the simple yet profound act of valuing himself. Self-love is not about vanity or selfishness. It is about recognizing his inherent worth and treating himself with the same kindness, respect, and compassion he would offer to someone he deeply cares about. In solitude, he learns to silence the inner critic that often undermines his confidence and to replace it with a voice of encouragement and affirmation. He begins to see himself not through the lens of his flaws or failures, but through the lens of his potential and purpose. This shift in perspective is transformative, allowing him to embrace his imperfections and celebrate his uniqueness. Mastering self-love also involves taking care of his physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. A man who lives alone has the freedom to prioritize his health, to nurture his mind, and to feed his soul. He can establish routines that honor his needs, whether it's through exercise, meditation, or pursuing hobbies that bring him joy. He learns to set boundaries that protect his energy and to say no to things that drain or diminish him. This intentional self-care is not an act of indulgence, but a declaration of self-respect, a recognition that he is worthy of love and care, especially from himself. Furthermore, self-love is about forgiveness and acceptance. In the quiet moments of solitude, a man can confront his past mistakes and let go of the guilt and shame that may have held him back. He learns to forgive himself for his shortcomings and to embrace his humanity. This process of healing and acceptance allows him to move forward with confidence and grace, knowing that he is enough, just as he is. By mastering self-love, he becomes a man who is whole, secure, and capable of loving others from a place of abundance rather than need. Living alone serves as a powerful training ground for leadership, as it requires a man to take full responsibility for his life and decisions. Leadership begins with self-mastery, and solitude provides the perfect environment for this essential development. When a man lives alone, he is forced to lead himself, to set his own goals, manage his time, and navigate challenges without relying on others. This self-governance is the foundation of true leadership as it cultivates discipline, accountability, and resilience. He learns to make decisions with confidence, to stand by his choices, and to learn from his mistakes. These experiences shape him into a man who is not only capable of leading himself, but also inspiring and guiding others. A man who lives alone also develops the emotional intelligence necessary for effective leadership. In the quiet moments of solitude, he learns to understand and manage his emotions, to reflect on his actions, and to grow from his experiences. This self-awareness allows him to connect with others on a deeper level, to empathize with their struggles, and to lead with compassion and understanding. He becomes a man who listens more than he speaks, who seeks to understand before being understood, and who values the perspectives and contributions of those around him. These qualities make him not just a leader, but a servant leader, one who prioritizes the well-being and growth of others. Moreover, living alone teaches a man the importance of vision and purpose. Without the distractions of external influences, he can focus on clarifying his goals and aligning his actions with his values. He learns to think strategically, to plan for the future, and to inspire others with his vision. This sense of purpose becomes the driving force behind his leadership, motivating him to persevere in the face of adversity and to lead with integrity and conviction. By preparing himself in solitude, he becomes a leader who is not only respected, but also trusted and admired, capable of making a lasting impact on the world around him. In the quiet strength of solitude, a man discovers the power within himself to build a life of purpose, resilience, and unwavering integrity. Living alone is not a season of lack or loneliness. It is a season of preparation, growth, and self-mastery. It is a time to uncover your true value, to cultivate self-love, and to lay a foundation so strong that no storm can shake it. It is a time to avoid distractions, to focus on your dreams, and to become the leader you were born to be. Remember, the greatest relationship you will ever have is the one you build with yourself. When you learn to lead yourself with courage and compassion, you become a beacon of light for others. A man who not only achieves greatness, but also inspires it in those around you. So embrace this journey. Stand tall in your solitude, for it is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to your strength. The world is waiting for the man you are becoming, the man who knows his worth, walks in his purpose, and leads with love. Rise to the occasion, for your time is now.